Hey everyone, it's Carol. Hey everyone, it's Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and tonight I wanted to talk about the proclamation that came out yesterday from the White House. The proclamation is called, let me get it right. The proclamation suspending entry of immigrants who present risk to the U.S. labor market during the economic recovery following the COVID-19 outbreak. So I know that y'all didn't rush to the White House website like I did to go look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what I think are really the relevant parts of it to you, and then kind of give you a breakdown of it. So it's about 8 pages when fully printed out. So don't worry, I'm not going to read all 8 pages because I know we all got things to do today. But I definitely wanted to go over this because I think it's important, and I think the tweet was pretty vague, and I think people definitely have a lot of questions. I know I've been fielding questions since yesterday about it. So it says, the entry into the United States of aliens as immigrants is hereby suspended and limited subject to Section 2 of the proclamation. So when we get to Section 2 of the proclamation, it says, the suspension and limitation on entry pursuant to Section 1, blah, blah, blah. You know how lawyers are. So here's who cannot come in. Any aliens who are outside of the United States on the effective date of the proclamation. The effective date of the proclamation is today, April 23rd at 11:59 p.m. So any aliens who are, quote, outside the United States on the effective date of this proclamation, and any aliens who do not have an immigrant visa that is valid on the effective date of this proclamation are not allowed to enter the U.S., and any aliens who do not have an official travel document other than a visa that is valid on the effective date of the proclamation or issued any date after the effective date of the proclamation. So that kind of sounds like a really sweeping number of people who are not allowed in the U.S. for this proclamation. The proclamation is in force for 60 days, but of course there are exceptions. So the exceptions are the people that currently under this proclamation are allowed into the U.S. And so that piece of the proclamation says as follows. The suspension shall not apply to any lawful permanent resident of the United States. So that is anyone that is a current green card holder. It shall not apply to any alien seeking to enter the United States on an immigrant visa as a physician, nurse, or other healthcare professional who will be performing medical research or other research intended to combat the spread of COVID-19. So healthcare workers are being allowed into the United States, which of course we all think is great. In addition, any alien applying for a visa to enter the U.S. pursuant to the EB-5 investor program, those are individuals that invest in businesses and invest a significant amount of money in businesses here in the U.S. and then create jobs for U.S. workers. So those immigrants will be allowed into the United States under this suspension. Also allowed into the U.S. under this suspension are any alien who is the spouse of a U.S. citizen. So that's very important. We want to keep families together. I suspect that was the reason behind exempting those folks out. Also, individuals, any alien who is under 21 years old and is the child of a United States citizen who is coming in because they are being adopted by that U.S. citizen. So if you are a U.S. citizen and you are in the process of adopting a child from overseas, that processing will continue, and that child will be allowed in if you are ready to have that child enter within the next 60 days. Any individual that is furthering U.S. law enforcement objectives, that's pretty vague. I have no idea what it means. We're going to have to wait for a little bit more guidance on that, but I wanted to put that out there so that you are all aware of it. As well, individuals that are in the armed forces and their spouses and children, they will also be allowed to enter into the U.S. under this proclamation. Again, this White House proclamation was issued today. It becomes effective at 11:59 tonight. The other thing of note in the proclamation, it says within 30 days of the effective date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Labor and the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the State Department. So essentially, Department of Labor, Homeland Security, and the Department of State shall review non-immigrant programs and shall recommend to me, meaning the President, other measures appropriate to stimulate the United States economy and ensure prioritization, hiring, and employment of U.S. workers. So while this current proclamation does not appear to have any negative impact on non-immigrant workers, those people that are here in, say, HLTN or O1 status, the president is looking to get some sort of information, some sort of report from those agencies in 30 days. So we could be seeing another proclamation in the next 30 days that may impact employment-based immigrants. So what does all that mean? That's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. What does that mean? So for you, it means that the consulates are still closed overseas. They are still not processing applications because they are practicing social distancing based on COVID-19. It means that there are still travel restrictions for many countries. And so the closing of the consulates as well as the travel restrictions, that timeline overlaps with this 60 days. So the impact of this proclamation over the next 60 days is quite frankly lessened because these applications weren't really being processed anyway because the consulates are currently closed and because there are travel restrictions. So people aren't really coming into the U.S. right now anyway. Certainly not coming in the huge amounts that we've seen them before. We've also obviously seen flights canceled. The other thing it means for you is if you are currently in the U.S. and you have a green card application that is pending, that green card application will in fact be processed. There's nothing about this proclamation that touches upon immigrants and individuals that are already here in the U.S. So if you are already here in the U.S., you have filed for a green card, that application will be processed same as always. So in that sense, the immigration service inside the U.S. is what we see business as usual. That also means that if you are thinking about filing for a green card or thinking about filing for your U.S. citizenship, and you are in the U.S., you can certainly do that. This proclamation does not stop that application from being processed. Also, this proclamation, if you are working here in the U.S. and you are on a non-immigrant visa, for instance, you're here on an H, you're here on an L, you're here on an O1, and you want to file or you have already filed for your permanent residence here in the United States, your green card application is already pending, or you are in the process of starting that application, you can still process those applications. You can still file them. The Immigration Service is still taking those in, receiving them in, and getting them processed. So again, if you are here in the United States, the proclamation does not apply to you. So if you are not sure what that means for you, feel free to give my office a call, 954-903-1337, and we're more than happy to have a conversation with you. So as sort of just to wrap this up, I wanted to make this fairly quick for you all this evening. Individuals that are not allowed into the country are those that are currently applying for green cards that are sitting outside of the U.S. If for some reason you are currently sitting outside of the U.S. and you are a current green card holder, you will be allowed back into the U.S. Now, the issue with coming back into the U.S., of course, are all the travel restrictions, but this proclamation does not stop you from re-entering the U.S. as a current green card holder. And in super quick summary, this proclamation does not apply to anyone in the, in the medical field that's coming to help combat COVID-19. It does not apply to EB-5 immigrant investors. It does not apply to spouses and children of U.S. citizens who are looking to re-enter the U.S. It does not apply if you are a U.S. citizen and you are adopting a child overseas. It does not apply if you are part of the U.S. Armed Forces. So at first blush, it seems to be a very broad group of people that are impacted, and there are certainly a lot of people that are impacted, but there are some folks that are not. And again, if you are not quite sure what that proclamation means to your individual situation, please feel free to give my office a call, 954-903-1337. And I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and I will keep y'all updated as soon as I hear anything. You will hear it as well. And if you would like to be part of my mailing list, I sent this information out to my mailing list earlier today. Feel free to drop your email address in the comments and I can get you added, or you can feel free to send me a messenger note. Bye.